down the pitch here, ladies and gents. I mean, Lewis Steele's mentioned this amongst other journos. Liverpool are looking in the centre-back region. We know about Kwanzaa, which we'll get onto, but there's going to be a replacement coming in. There's some obvious names on the screen to talk about at the same time. I suppose the opening line, and I'm almost jumping to the end here, Lou. Do you think one or more centre-halves right now will arrive at Anfield this summer?
Yeah, I think now that we've sold Kwanzaa, we've made a bit of, and Nat Phillips, oh God love Nat Phillips, but there's a gap now at centre back which we desperately need to fill. Do I think we'll get two? Maybe, but I'm 100% convinced we're definitely going to get at least one. Because for the simple fact that we have to now, it's definitely someone that there are players that we're linked with. Obviously, Hato is one, Guehi, Bramthwaite. One of them will come to us this summer. Which one it is, I personally think it's going to be Mark Guehi. Like we said with Isak, there's too much talk around it. There's so much linking Guehi to Liverpool at the moment that I feel like it feels natural. It feels like the right fit for us. And I personally think we should get him. He's a talented player. He's just won the FA Cup. But yeah, one will definitely be coming. Two, maybe. But I think we do need two personally.
It's fascinating. We've got the Lewis Steele Q&A. The bit that seems to keep coming out, again, from other patch journalists as well, is that Liverpool are clearly looking for a centre-half, and with Jarell Quansah, we'll talk about going out. There's going to be one coming in. But it's this line, Lou, that keeps coming out, that Liverpool are looking for the next Virgil van Dijk. And there's a few names that you mentioned, which we'll talk about in more depth. Now, there's real credence to that, because they've been chasing a young centre-half for a while. I mean, you go back to last summer, Lenny Yoro was on the docket, wasn't he, for all the big clubs before United paid a stupid fee, and obviously his career is going to wither on the vine. Dean Huijsen before Real Madrid swooped in this summer. If it is Guehi, so say he is one that comes in, do you think they would go for a fifth, or would that settle it?
No, I think if Mark Guehi comes in, they will still be looking to go for another centre-back. They will look for a fifth. Whether or not they get him, though, is the only thing I'm worried about. Now, I don't know. I was never 100% for, and I know we'll get into it, I was never 100% for selling Quansah, not because of his talent, but more so just it felt like we were creating an issue for ourselves. But yeah, I think if we can get Mark Guehi wrapped up pretty quickly, there's time to go for someone else. I just don't want to see it drag on and then us get to the point of panic where we're then like, okay, we've got to get someone. Who can we get in? Arsenal are being licked with Hato. Is Bramthwaite going to come to us? I'm not 100% convinced. Guehi's the one that I think will definitely happen. And if we do manage to sign him, then yeah, there are other options out there that we could make happen. I'd like to believe that we will get another two, that we will end up with 5 centre-backs. It's just, yeah, you need it. We can't be relying on, like you said, Van Dijk's getting older now. He's been, and that's not me discrediting him in any way, shape or form. I love Van Dijk. His fitness is out of this world, but there's no guarantee that he's going to be that same level for the next few years in terms of fitness. You've also got Ibrahima Konate, who there's no guarantee he's going to be here for long. His fitness gets called into question, even though last season it really shouldn't have. And Joe Gomez is broken, like at this point. So we can't just rely on signing a Guehi and that be the only solution. We do need that fifth option to come in for the club, and I'd like to see us do it, in all honesty.
It will be interesting to see. Again, like you said, it has the feeling of Guehi, but will there be another one? And I mean, he's on the screen there, and there's even news come out about it today that Jarell Quansah, it's 30 million plus 5 million add-ons, but importantly, there is apparently a release clause. Now, it translates at 60 million euros, so about 51 million quid was the Fabrizio Romano tweet around half an hour ago. That apparently, though, can only be activated in 2027, which is apparently when Virgil van Dijk's contract, as far as we know, comes to an end at the same time. So even though, I mean, he said he wanted to take the next step, Quansah, he's got a lot of fans. I'm still always a bit unsure about Quansah personally, but they've got covered themselves with that deal and with that buyback in 2 years, haven't they?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Honestly, that the business we've done, not just in terms of incomings, is outgoings, and it's a win-win because, like you said, Van Dijk will potentially be leaving 2027. If Quanta goes on and becomes a massive success, he could have like a Lenny Yoro sort of period where, because he does so well, the price is ramped up to 80, 90 million, but we're able to get him for cheap. So that's one win. Another win is the options there, but say it doesn't work at Bayer Leverkusen, we're in no obligation to go out and sign him. Like, it's been handled perfectly, and I think Quanta does have qualities that could make him a success in the Bundesliga. Like you said, I was disappointed that he left, in the sense of he'd had one great season for us and one poor season, and I just wanted to see him get that one more chance to shine. But I understand why we got rid of him. He clearly didn't fit the system. That Ipswich match was just, I think that was him done, in all honesty. Yeah. He then had a few poor performances, West Ham in the League Cup, Chelsea towards the end of the season. He just didn't look like he was really fitting, and I understand the sale, but including that buyback clause is a sort of, you're future-proofing to an extent. You're securing that, look, a couple of years down the line, this option is here, and this could be someone who's valued at 80, 90 million in the future if he had 2 incredible seasons, which he could do, and we could get him for dirt cheap. So I understand the logic of putting it in. I think that made this deal twice as worth it. Selling him for that amount, it's good money, but it was a bit disappointing. I think losing him, adding that in, just, it sweetens the deal. That's like a perfect scenario for us.
It is. It'll be interesting to see how he gets on at Leverkusen ultimately. And it is right, if we are going to go for this heir apparent to Virgil van Dijk, to talk about a few. I mean, it's on the screen there. Jarell Hato, who can also play left back. It's important to say, has played the majority of his very short career at left back as well. A few games at centre back here and there. I mean, the big thing around this, Lou, is, and I don't know if I like this really, Virgil van Dijk seems to be his biggest champion. Now, I adore Virgil van Dijk, but you're always wary when people champion other people. I mean, Fergie championed the Moisaya, and look how that turned out in the end ultimately as well.
Yeah.
From area division left back, who now and again doubles at centre back, to go and become Virgil van Dijk Sessa. I mean, I don't even want to say gap. We're talking about an atmosphere, aren't we here, surely?
Well, so I think exactly what you've just said there. Like, Hato in 23-24, he played centre-back 27 times, which, fine, fair enough in the league. Last season, he only played centre-back twice.
Yeah.
Like, there's clearly, they can see that he's better in that position than he is centre-back. He's a promising player, and I like the versatility. It's why Joe Gomez is so well endeared to us. It's why James Milner was. Do I want someone who's the heir apparent to Van Dijk, who is clearly more suited to being a left back than a centre back? Not really. I think if you're wanting someone to take over from Van Dijk, it's got to be someone who is built for centre back. It's got to be someone that is his ready-made position, not someone who you can put there at a pinch. Like Endo, for example, it's terrific that he's capable of playing CDM, right back, centre back, but I wouldn't trust him at a full-time role at centre back. I want someone who's ready to go in that position. Hato is a very talented young lad. We've seen that from the highlights we've got of him, with stats, everything. But I don't want someone where there's an uncertainty about where their strengths lie. And left back right now isn't a position which we even need to consider. No. Kerkez is coming in. We've still got Simicast, who's not terrific, but, hey-ho. Robbo's still here for the moment. We've got Owen Beck still coming through properly. There's options. Bringing in Hato, he's got to be a centre-back. He can't be considered a rotation between centre-back and left-back. The options there, terrific. But if you want to be the long-term successor, it's not for me personally.
Nah, they're struggling to see it. Doesn't mean he's a bad player, but there's nothing wrong with saying the standard of Liverpool right now is extremely high. And even in this article, David Ornstein mentions that Murillo, but expected to be valued too high. The other one, Lou, that keeps being mentioned by a few journalists, and we do like Red Bull Leipzig and their players quite often, don't we? Castello Lukeba, so French, 22 years old, left-footed, so plays on the left side as Van Dijk does at the same time as well. I mean, it's on the screen there for Data MB. I mean, 92nd percentile for progressive carries. So he's good at bringing the ball out. Defensive duels, 91st. We looked at him last night on our show, Transfer Market Metrics, and out of the ones we've talked about, he is actually the strongest in the air. He's got the highest aerial duel percentage against Hato and against Guehi. Price is an interesting one. I always wonder about, we do like Red Bull players, but you feel that if we're going to spend the price that's rumoured on this, it's going to have to be someone that's coming straight in, and well, he ain't going to dislodge VVD, is he? So how much stock do you put in one?
Well, I think a large portion of that does depend on what goes on with Konate, because like he's here for the moment, and I know there's talks that apparently contract talks have progressed, but who's to say that he's not rejected something? Who's to say that we can't say to Lukeba, look, this season you're going to be a bit of a rotation player, but next year Konate is going to be leaving and you're going straight in. Like there is a chance of it. How much were we talking about, as in how much it'd take to get him out of RB Leipzig at the moment?
This is where it's always difficult. And you think with Leipzig, because there's apparently the gentleman's agreement and a clause with Sesko, which is now seems to be going up and up every week. The last media reports you get, they're suggesting that Lukeba's release clause is around 67 million quid. So whether that could be negotiated or what, who knows? But if they're going to be fortified by Sesko funds and Javi Simmons is being linked as well, I can't see them giving much sort of club card points on that one.
No, and I mean, look, it's a lot of money. If that's a release clause, then fine. The one thing that is making me think this might be a more suitable option for Liverpool is purely the passing stats. Yeah. Like, for passes completed and progressive carries, that's why we love Joel Matip so much, because he was able to drive forward with the ball. He was able to create space and make things happen. Mark Guehi's actual passing is pretty poor, and I think that's one thing that I look at him and think you can definitely improve on that. We are a possession-based side nowadays. We like to control the ball. We like to build up from the back. Guehi is in the bottom 30% bottom 27% for pass completion of centre-backs in the Premier League. He's in the top 15%, bottom 15% of medium pass completion, and he's in the bottom 42% for long passes. His job is simply, you be here and you sweep for us, because he ranks very highly in those metrics. Lukeba is someone who is clearly capable of performing defensively while also creating, while also providing space for us and picking up the ball, running with it. He's very direct. His switches of play, he probably feels more suited. But I think Guehi at the moment, given the 1 year left on his contract, given the fact that he seems to be pushing for a move away from Crystal Palace, he's probably the one we'd go for. But I think Lukeba could be, if you're talking about a long-term successor to anyone, this could be the long-term successor to Konate. And whoever you bring in on the other side, someone like a Hato, if you're wanting him to be your full-time centre-back behind Van Dijk, you've got a very young, promising defensive partnership there. Lukeba would be my choice personally, but I can understand why this probably, the odds of it happening are a little bit slim.
Yeah, it is a funny one with Lukeba. I think there's a couple of things for me that stand with Lukeba. I think the fact he is 22, and I know that doesn't seem old, but if he was 21, I think we can register him as an under-21 player, wouldn't we? So we wouldn't have to go on the official sheet for the numbers in the squad. I think maybe just that year. And the fact that Guehi is homegrown, and we've talked about that quota before as well, come into the mix as well. But similar to you, I am a fan of Lukeba. Do I think it will happen right now? I don't think so, but we'll have to see. I mean, two final questions on this centre-back one, Lou. Ibu, we haven't got him on the screen just yet, but I mean, we're unsure if he's going to sign a new deal. Of course we are. Yeah. But I suppose I want to put that to you. If he's not going to sign a new deal, sell or keep for the year to go for it all?
I mean, it's an interesting one, I think, because as much as I'd like to say sell him, it's not FIFA. If he doesn't want to go, if no club's coming in for him that he wants to move to, we can't just say, all right, off you go. And there's people who are saying, well, relegate him to the reserves and under 21s and stuff like that. There's no benefit from that, because A, you're still going to lose him for a free, and B, you're just excluding a first teamer for the season for no reason. I'd rather, if he wants to go, I'd rather use him for the season if he's just refusing to be sold, if there's no club good enough coming in for him. Use him because he's still a very talented player. I wouldn't be happy with it, but I said the same thing about Trent. People were saying drop him. Why? You're cutting off your nose despite your face. You're losing one of our key players from last season. And if you're relegating him to the under-21s, doing what have you, you're losing him from the first team and you're still going to lose him on a free. If you sell him, terrific, bring someone else in. But if he's going to be around for the year, if he's refusing to leave, if no one's coming in, I see no reason to drop him because he was so integral for us last year. And I want him to stay. And if he is going to go, I'd ideally like a fee to come in for him. But I'm not convinced that he's going to be here beyond next summer. There's so many reports of him wanting much higher wages. I know 200k was getting thrown around. Do I think he's worth that? Possibly not. But again, he was so imperative for us last season. And I don't think he gets the respect he deserves. Like, up until the Real Madrid match, I'd say he was our best centre-back last season. I think he was better than Van Dijk up until that point. Came back, didn't quite get up to that standard again, but he still maintained it. But we saw what type of player he is when Van Dijk's not in the team. So, yeah, it is a very interesting one. I can't see him being here beyond this summer. I don't think we're going to... beyond next summer, even. I don't think we're going to sell him. I think he's going to stay, and he'll probably just leave when his contract expires, in all honesty.
Do you know what? That is honestly what I think happens. I wouldn't be surprised if there is an offers, if he doesn't sign. I want to be wrong on this. I think everyone does. And we move on. Of course we do, people, before we jump into that. But the wages being offered, I also get the feeling there'll be, I know we said low ball for Darwin at Napoli. I wouldn't be surprised if a low ball offer comes in for Konate, because with a
like Madrid did with Trent.
Yeah, exactly that. It wouldn't surprise me if PSG come in, who look like they're going to get Zabiani with something like 30 million or something like that. And actually, I know people saying they'd sell him tomorrow even there, or they'd do it. I would just be quite happy to let it run for another year. I think this is more us choosing to make that call a little bit rather than what happened with a certain other player. But we will see what unfolds. And we've got a pressure on this one then, Lou. Multi-part question for the big decision. Which defender, and if it's more than one, who is it?
Look, I want Guehi. I think Guehi is a proven Premier League player who's won the FA Cup, was an integral part of Crystal Palace's side. I think Guehi coming in could be a big, big win for us. I think that's top-level signing. Someone of a proven track record in the Premier League. And yeah, like I said, his passing isn't top tier, but defensively he's very good. Physically he's quick, he's strong, he's great in the air, and he can drive forward with the ball. He's very good at creating from the centre-back position. If you're going in for another one, I think Hato is the dream one. I'm not mentioning Billy because obviously that's the odds of that happening are 0-0. Hato and Guehi, I think, are the two ideal ones. I know Braithwaite was getting thrown around, but I think Braithwaite is pretty much your Murillo type player. He's just great at getting rid of it. He's great at lumping it. He's good in the air. Hato, however you pronounce his name, him and Guehi would be my two dream signings, I think, for this summer if we were to get two centre-backs.
Yeah, it's a funny one with Braithwaite. I mean, there's all sorts of suggestions. There's been links with us forever. But now that they aren't in administration, it's near on impossible to see them agreeing to that. So that's why we're not really talked upon him in depth. I do think it will be Guehi. I might be wrong on this. I get a suspicion it's just Guehi, and then Konate goes next summer, and we roll the dice for the next one there.
Maybe,
but we will see ultimately what happens. Christ, people, there's a million things that are going to happen.